Well, good morning everybody. Hope you're all okay. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm reading a little bit out of a book called A Backward Glance by Jean Barber, and it's called Wash Days. Wash day was always Monday, whatever the weather, and what a business it was. Mother was up at 6 a.m. to light the copper fire to boil the water. She also lit the kitchen fire, the living room fire, and when Grandma was living with us, the parlour fire. In the backyard, the heavy wooden tub was rolled out and filled from the copper by bucket. The mangle was manoeuvred into position and the galvanised ridged washboard brought out. A bowl of starch was made and blue and cream dolly bag rinsers. People wore more clothes than it is usual today, as houses were not centrally heated. The winters really did seem colder and to last longer. We wore heavy white cotton petticoats, liberty bodices, combinations, nightwear and shirts. There were white fringed bedspreads. All bed linen was white. There were no easy care fabrics, no drip dries and no miracle cleansers. There was sunlight soap, soft soap, and a few branded powders such as Rinso and Compo. Mother used to make her washing soap from mutton fat and soda. All white clothes had to be boiled after having manually pounded on the washboard to loosen the dirt. Boiling seemed to have an almost mystical significance, and the women who neglected this vital operation was regarded as a slattern. So into the boiling water they went for 20 minutes until every room in the house was full of steam and every window running with water. Wet wash days were dreaded, as the wet clothes had to come draped around the house to dry. After the boiling came an incredible number of rinsings, starching, bluing, folding and mangling before they were finally pegged out on the line for the critical inspection of the neighbours. Many a drumhead court was convened in poky backyards for the purpose of castigating some poor woman whose whites were anything but and might bring disgrace upon the street. I myself joined in more than one pitch battle when some timorous child from another street was foolish enough to disparagingly compare our street's washing with theirs. Coming home from school at midday, the scenario was fairly predictable. Mother was harassed and exhausted, and the scratch meal was a rehash of Sunday's leftovers. Worse still, there was no pudding. But the washing was only the half of it. The dry clothes would be taken in, lightly sprinkled with water, folded or rolled, then placed in the wicker clothes basket, ready for the next operation. The ironing took almost as long, but generally left until the next day. Then 2 or 3 flat irons were put over the fire to heat, whilst Mother cleared the kitchen table and spread over a thick blanket and an old sheet. Out would come the iron trivet on which to rest the iron, a thick woolen iron holder, and a piece of soap on a plate which cleansed away any starch deposits that collected underneath the iron. As each garment was ironed, it was hung up to air on a wooden contraption that was hauled up to the kitchen ceiling. Here they stayed for several days, as it was believed that damp clothes caused colds and chest complaints. Here they absorbed all the cooking smells of the kitchen, so that putting on the clean clothes reminded me of all the meals partaken over the week. Only another 5 days and the whole process would begin again. I hope you've enjoyed that. It just shows how times change. And Monday morning was definitely wash day, and I can just remember my mum with the mangle and the wash tub, the dolly tub as we called it, and the ponch to ponch the clothes. I've got some of those items, and one day I will show you. But I thought you'd find that interesting. We tend to forget that a whole day was given over to keeping everything clean. And yes, woe betide you if your net curtains weren't the cleanest in the street. I don't know. Lots of love. I've got to crack on.